and welcome to my channel. My name is Martine, and if you are new here, I do videos on Vedic astrology mainly, but also with some tropical insights, and I focus on both relationship and natal astrology. And if you like this video and you would like to hear more content from me, please like, subscribe, hit the notifications bell to see when I will post a new video. And if you're interested in a personal consultation, I do consultations on a wide variety of subjects. Please check out the video description. I will leave the information there. Thank you. So today's video is going to be a bit of a short rant. I was thinking about making this video for some time now, but I wasn't even sure if I should make it because it's not really a typical video or like recording on astrology. It's not about teaching astrology, but it's rather about something that I have noticed. If you have been, watching the videos that I posted so far, you probably have noticed already that I do have a particular interest also in psychology. Most of the videos that I make also reference psychology, or I look at astrology from a psychological perspective, and how different aspects play out in terms of a person's overall psychological makeup and personality. And I also made a couple of videos on things like narcissism, psychopathy, and things that I think and I have noticed through years of experience may link a person's natal chart to these potential, psychological pathologies, like being a narcissist or being a psychopath, or even a serial killer, like I have mentioned in the videos that I made about serial killers and narcissists. And in lieu with those subjects, I wanted to make a recording/video about something I noticed in interactions with narcissists. Namely, I don't know if you've noticed this, so again, this video is just mainly going to be my opinion. So please let me know if you agree with me, or maybe if you've noticed similar patterns of behaviors, because I'm very curious to hear your perspective. But something that I've noticed over the years is people who are narcissistic, whether they are full-blown narcissists. Now, I don't claim to know, I guess I'm not qualified to say 100% when a person is narcissistic, but based on the fact that I kept having encounters with narcissists over the years, and I have really studied the psychology of what makes a person narcissistic, I would say that I am pretty accurate in my assessment when I say that a person is narcissistic. And so throughout the years, I just kept noticing these patterns of people who are narcissistic hating astrology, or hating any kind of what I would call, I guess, esoteric forms of knowledge, like astrology, numerology, tarot, and all this stuff. And basically, this is what I wanted to say. In my experience, I've noticed that narcissists really hate astrology. In fact, I have come to see this so often that it's almost like a test for me to ask if a person or to bring up the topic of astrology, let's say in a social setting, and see who among the people around me have the most intense reaction to the subject. And oftentimes these people are going to be narcissistic. And to me, I think it's a valuable piece of information, because again, it can be a very easy way to see if a person is a narcissist or not. Of course, I would not 100% dismiss everybody as a narcissist if they don't like astrology. That's not what I'm trying to say. But, if you kind of suspect that a person is a narcissist, they show other traits, and then on top of that, they have a really bad reaction to the topic of astrology, you might want to, do some more research on that. And here is why I think this happens. I don't know if you've noticed this, but those people who just have this really bad reaction when you tell them that you're interested in astrology, oftentimes some people may not care about astrology simply because, I don't know, they just don't care about it. They're very pragmatic. Some people don't care about it because of religious reasons, and I respect that. People have said to me, no offense, but my religion tells me I have to ignore astrology, that, it's nonsense. And I just don't go into that because it's against my religion, and I respect that, But when you're dealing with a narcissist, you oftentimes get these really bad reactions, like emotional and intense reactions. Like, usually it's something along the lines of like, are you crazy? You really believe in astrology? Why would you waste your time on this? And then they will start to berate you sometimes. They'll be like, oh, really? I would have never thought that you waste your time on this crap. I thought you were serious. I thought you were a smart person. And sometimes I thought, like, maybe this is just because, I happen to work in a I work in a technical field, and like most of the people that I would have these conversations with were in technical fields. Sometimes I made the mistake of, mentioning the fact that I really like astrology with people at work who, of course, that was a bad idea, but I won't expand on that subject because it would take too long. But bottom line is they will oftentimes have this like really intense reaction. So, and I think the reason why this happens, so the reason why narcissists really don't like astrology, there are two main reasons as far as I can see it. One of them, and maybe the most important, is the fact that astrology is not a mainstream acceptable form of knowledge, or I don't know, how do you want to call it, like the craft of astrology is not a socially acceptable form of science or information, a method of gaining information about the world. And narcissists, at their fundamental level, they only care about two things, validation from society and power, or social status. And of course they're not going to go for something that would potentially make them look unpopular, and so people who go for astrology in general are people who are, I would say above average in spirituality, most of them. And unless they are people who, like only care about, their weekly horoscopes or something. There are exceptions to this, but most of the times people who really become interested in astrology and really, really get in depth, there are people who are above average in spirituality, and they gain a lot of satisfaction from astrology because they see, like a higher plan in it. They see, the higher plan of creation. They see evidence of a higher consciousness or a higher, creative force. It gives them a feeling of like, their life is not just like, we're not just specks of dust floating around in outer space. So it really gives them a lot of satisfaction. And then there's also just the fact that astrology can guide you through life in, your moments of turmoil and all this stuff. And so there are a lot of spiritual benefits from studying astrology. It really enriches your life and the way that you understand people and interact with people and all this stuff. But a narcissist, since they only care about material things like social status, like attention, this is the main stuff, power, money, you name it, they're not going to go for something that is potentially controversial. And let's not forget that astrology really is, it's still largely, I think, a controversial topic, It's not like you can go, into your office Christmas party and say, hey, I am an astrologer, and I just posted a video on YouTube about astrology. You can't do that kind of thing because it's not going to be seen as something favorable or a marker of your intellectual abilities, and that's why I don't do that. Not anymore. I made that mistake a few times, but I won't get into it. But the bottom line is, this is one of the main reasons. Another one, and equally important perhaps, is the fact that, again, if you've studied the topic of narcissism, you will know that at the core of narcissism there is massive insecurity, number one, and that massive insecurity like makes them want to basically believe that they're special. Narcissists at their core are extremely arrogant. They are entitled. They usually have an inner narrative of, you know, having some kind of grandiose destiny. Even though a lot of the times narcissists come from families or from backgrounds that implied abuse, especially in early childhood, and it's precisely because of that a lot of them construct this phantasmagorical, like fantastical narrative, like this inner narrative of the reason this happened to me was because, you know, I have a higher destiny and nobody like me has ever been born, and I am so powerful and so special, and, you know, I'm unique and above everybody else. So, and what is astrology? I mean, astrology is basically telling people their personalities, and narcissists don't like that. They don't like the fact that there is a science out there, you know, that can work out all of the, you know, intricacies of their inner world and tell them why you do this. You know, tell them what their inner motivations are and what their personality is and why they do things when they do things. They don't want to believe that they can be easily mapped out by something that they see as potentially trivial and nonsense like astrology. And because of that, they won't even get into it. Like, I don't know if you've noticed this, like, I've had situations over the years where people that I am very, very sure are narcissistic have sometimes at the beginning asked me about their charts. And when I would say even the slightest thing, something that they even on the slightest level found inconvenient, they would have this reaction like, oh, never mind, this is nonsense, I'm not wasting my time on this nonsense. And I was like, and I would be like, you know, okay, fine, if you don't believe in this nonsense, then why did you ask me to look at your chart and give you advice? You know what I'm saying? It's like the moment that you say something they don't want to hear, they just shut it down, you know, and they dismiss it altogether, and then they start, you know, putting it down and bashing you as a hobbyist astrologer. And, you know, I don't know, like, this is just something that I've noticed. And yeah, this is just like something that I wanted to put out there because I'm really curious as to what you think, or maybe if you've noticed similar patterns. But this is something that I've noticed like over and over and over again. And especially since, you know, narcissists don't like competition. For me, especially working in a technical field, so if a field that is very rational and all this stuff, one of the reasons why I even avoid talking about my interest in astrology, is because people that will perceive me as competition at work, which oftentimes happen to be narcissists, will use my interest in astrology as a way to basically call my judgment into question and say, see, this is some crystal ball glaring bimbo who cannot understand things from a logical perspective, even though I am very, very capable of doing, I don't know, calculus and all that stuff. I mean, I went through engineering school, but especially male chauvinists who are oftentimes also narcissistic, they can't wait for you as a woman to say something like, oh, I follow astrology, so that they can try to put you down and make you look like some kind of a, you know, like I said, a crystal ball glaring fool. and this is oftentimes, like, you will see this with narcissists, they will try to belittle the fact that you have this interest. As is typical for narcissists in general, but if you tell a narcissist that you like astrology, they will immediately jump at the opportunity to use this information to feel superior to you. Like, especially if you're talking to somebody in a left brain profession like engineering or medical science, basically any of the STEM fields, or, you know, yeah, I mean, this is something that I've noticed, and I wanted to put out there because I do think it's useful information, and I'm also very curious to hear other people's perspectives. Like, maybe you've also noticed similar patterns. Yeah, so that's all I wanted to say. So I hope you found this informative. And once again, if you liked it, please like, subscribe, hit the notifications bell. And if you're interested in a personal consultation, please check out the video description. I will leave the information there. Thank you.